Hello, welcome back. I've got my project pan update video today and I've got my notepad here where I keep track of all my project pan items and I track how many times I've used them since the last update, and my numbers are looking really good. They're really quite higher than what they usually are, so I think I must be filming this a few days later than when I usually film my project pan updates, so that's quite good. Saying that, I only have one empty. I do also have one declutter I'm going to tell you about and two products that I'm going to move out of my project pan. So I've gone from having 18 items down to now 14 items in my project pan, and that's the biggest my project pan has ever been. I usually stick to around 10 items because I feel like that's a good enough number to be working on. It's not too few, it's not too many, but yeah, at the moment it was 18 and we're now down to 14. Do you just want to say, if you can hear a little bit of background noise, it is my boyfriend in the kitchen cooking dinner. The kitchen is connected to this room, so there might be a little bit of noise, but he's making me dinner, so I can't complain. So let's go through all of these items. I'll tell you how we're looking in terms of progress, and we're actually going to start off with the empty. I'm going to go through the order in which they're on my notepad here, but the first item is my empty. It's the Vive Skin Nova, which is a primer, and I, a good couple of months ago I think, cut open the tube and scraped out all the product and put it into one of these types of tubs because the pump didn't want to work. It just stopped pumping out any product, and it was a fairly new primer, so it wasn't a case of I'd run out of product, it's just that the pump stopped working. So that's a little bit frustrating. So I cut it open, put it into a little tub, and then it took me 9 uses this month to use it up. I used it up on the 9th of August. I'm not sure if I would repurchase one to be honest, because one, the packaging, the pump didn't want to work, so that's a bit frustrating. And two, because I don't feel like it did an amazing job. It did a nice job, made my makeup look nice over the top. My skin didn't react horribly to it, but it wasn't nice enough for me to go, oh yeah, I would definitely repurchase it. I mean, I might repurchase it, but there are definitely others that I would want to try ahead of repurchasing it, and it also doesn't compare to my favourite, which is Bobbi Brown Face Base. So glad I have used that one up. So that is one item down in this project pan. Now, next two items are both foundations, and when I did my more makeup I want a pan this year, I think basically 4 or 5 out of the 6 foundations I own I need to start using up because they're going to go out of date very soon. So I have the Yves Saint Laurent Touche Éclat foundation and Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk. Yves Saint Laurent goes out of date quicker than the Luminous Silk. I think I've got until November sometime for Luminous Silk. I mean, if I go past the use by date, I'm still going to use it because it's a nice foundation and it's expensive, so I want to get it used up. I don't just want to, you know, waste it, and it'll be fine to use it past its expiry date for a while. It'll be absolutely fine. Now, because the Touche Éclat goes out of date on like the 14th, I think, of September, I decided for this month to not use Luminous Silk at all. So I haven't used this one since the last update, but to just work on Touche Éclat, get a good amount of usage out of this. And I have marked it. This foundation does settle quite nicely actually, and I am about, I would say, about halfway through this foundation now. I used this one 25 times since the last check-in, and this does have 25 mils of product in it, so it is slightly less than a standard foundation size, and I can use this one up by the end of this year. That one will be no problem. It's the one I've got on now. This has been on for about 9 hours because it's another day after work when I'm filming this, so this is a day's old makeup, and I think it looks alright. Doesn't look too bad, but it's a really pretty foundation. Medium coverage, I would say, nice and glowy, nice and radiant, but I wouldn't repurchase it because I am not the biggest fan of foundations anymore. It's too much for my skin. I much prefer the look and the feel of a skin tint. So that will take me until the end of the year to use up, I think, and I'm going to start using the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk one now as well. So I'm going to alternate them, do one day one day the other, and then I should hopefully have some steady, consistent usage out of both products. Now, Luminous Silk, I think, I'm not sure, I think I'm round about up here. I've got a lot of this left, so this one will take me quite some time. Next item I used 31 times since my last update. It is my Fenty Invisimatte blotting powder, which I have repressed. I had a really big pan on it and I repressed this one in my Franken and repressing video that I put up recently. I'll link it if you've not seen it. So I don't have much of this left, and this is actually starting to flake away a little bit. I did have a clump of this come away this morning when I went to apply it, so that is also happening. But with this one will also be an empty by the end of the year. I can't say whether it's going to be 1, 2, 3 months, I'm not sure, but a definite empty by the end of the year. And it's one that I apply multiple times throughout the day. So I put this powder on when I do my makeup in the morning, but then because my T-zone gets shiny, I'll use the, kind of needs to be washed, the, what is it called, compact, to kind of push more product into my face to take down any shine. So I am using it a few times every day. So one that gets a heck of a lot of use, 31 times this past month, and will be an empty by the end of the year. Another one that will be an empty by the end of the year, I seem to have made really good progress on this blusher over the past couple months. This is my Stila Lilium blusher. I had a good pan going on in it. The pan is quite big now, so this one will definitely be used up by the end of the year, and I used it 27 times since the last check-in. How I apply this is that I take my finger, rub some in the pan, and then just kind of wipe it on the back of my hand. I mix it in with another blusher that I'll talk about in a minute. Mix it with the brush and then apply it, and I find that that is the best way to apply it. It's more sheer, it's easier to blend out. Very pretty blusher, but it's a cream, it's only got 6 months shelf life, so that's why it's in my project pan. So the blusher that I mix in with the Stila one is the Vive Sunset Blush Balm in the shade Pesca. And this, I am not sure how much of this is left. I think I'm past halfway, but I'm not too sure. I also used this one 27 times last month, and I really like the combination of the pink from the Stila blusher and the peach from this one. They're a really beautiful combination together, and they mix in really nicely, and it's a really nice natural flush of colour. And I'm panning this one because this is a really beautiful blusher and I don't want it to get sat around not being used whilst I'm panning the Stila one. So I thought, why don't I just include both of them in my project pan, get them both used up. And I should hopefully have this one used up by the end of the year as well, fingers crossed. Now a blusher that I'm not going to get used up by the end of the year is Milani Luminoso. I still haven't hit pan on this blusher, and I used it 29 times since the past update. It is fairly flat though, so I don't think I'm far off, but I say that every time. But I have decided that because this is 4 maybe years old, that by the end of this year, regardless of whether I've hit pan or not, I'm going to throw it away at the very end of the year, because I don't want to be keeping hold of makeup that's really quite out of date. It's a powder, so it should be absolutely fine. I don't get any allergic reaction or anything on my face, but it's been around a while, and at that point it would have been in my project pan, I think, for the whole year. So it's definitely a product that I've gotten my use out of. But for now it can stay, and who knows, there might be a pan in it next month, but there probably won't be. So next on my list is a liquid highlighter. It's by Vive. I've got quite a bit of Vive makeup in this project pan. It's the Skin Dew XL in the big size, in the 60ml tube. I use a very small amount of this, so there is still a lot in here. But I have used it 25 times since the last update, so sorry, my boyfriend's been a little bit noisy. I have used it a lot of times since my last update, and I do keep saying that when the weather is warm, I'll mix some in with my body lotion. Today is very warm and I haven't done that, so I am really only using it as a cheek highlighter, but it's a very pretty product. Not one I would repurchase because I'm not really that into highlighter, but glad I've tried it. But yeah, I doubt, highly doubt, this will be an empty by the end of the year. Another highlighter, a powder one, also by Vive. It's in this face palette. It's this one here, which I also repressed in that repressing video. I used this one 31 times since the last update, and this one will definitely be an empty by the end of the year. It's quite a pretty shade. It's a very warm yellow gold shade, not glittery, but it has a nice kind of sheen to it. I've got some on today, I'm not really sure how much of it is actually left, but it's nice to layer over the top of the liquid highlighter. So yeah, this one will also be an empty by the end of the year. I should hopefully have quite a few empties in this project pan by the end of this year. Well, I'm hoping so anyway. Right, I have 2 eye sticks by Vive, 2 eye ones, so eyeshadow sticks. The first one is in the shade Camel, which is what I use as my cream bronzer, so I just draw like a few lines on my cheekbones and blend it out with a big brush. This one I used 27 times since the last check-in. Doesn't look like I've got much of this left, but the progress on this is very slow. However, the progress this month is a lot bigger than previous months. I'm not really sure why. It might be that I've used it a few more times, but despite there not looking like there's much left, it takes ages to get through this. I thought these would be quick, easy wins to have in my project pan, but no, these take ages. But these are another item that I have decided to get rid of by the end of the year if they're still in my project pan, because these are quite out of date. It works alright as a cream bronzer, but an actual cream bronzer does a better job. And then the other one, which is in the shade Sand, which I've used 29 times, I use as my eyeshadow primer, but it doesn't do a great job of that. I do notice some creasing a few hours after applying it. It's a lovely colour, but relying on it as an eyeshadow primer, that's not really what it's for. So these will be another item that I've certainly got my use out of this year, because they've been in my project pan for quite some time. So these may be empties by the end of the year, they may not be, but if they're not, I don't think that there will be much left. I've also got 2 powder eyeshadows, both from the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette. So first up is Ounce, which is this shimmery ivory shade, which I use as an inner corner highlight and under the brow bone. If I'm in a real rush, or if I don't really want to wear much eyeshadow, I will put that over the lid, but primarily it is in the inner corners and under the brow bones, so it means that I'm using a small brush to get product, and I don't think I'm using much product at all. So I doubt the pan is that much bigger than last time, especially as well because I'm not even taking product from the pan, so I don't think it will look that different from last time. The one next to it is Chaser. This is a matte ivory shade. This will be used up in like a month or two. There's hardly any of this product left, and I have repressed it. This was another product I repressed in that repressing video. Both of these I used 26 times, so Chaser will definitely be used up by the end of the year. I'm hoping Ounce will be as well, and then once both of those shades are used up, I will be passing on this eyeshadow palette because the remaining shades are just too dark for me. Okay, onto the Declutter. Now this is an item that I have kind of gone back and forth on. There are some updates where I'm like, I want to declutter it, I don't really like using it anymore, but then there are others where I'm like, no, stick with it. But I have finally decided that I will declutter it. It is the Eyeko Cocoa Edit liquid eyeliner in a mini. I used it 20 times since the last update, and I think this is an item that's been in my project pan all year, so I've had a heck of a lot of use out of it. The reasons I'm decluttering this is because 2 main reasons really. One is that especially over an eyeshadow like this, a shimmery eyeshadow, this doesn't do a really good job of showing up. It's really quite sheer. And also I'm just not really into eyeliner, especially a liquid eyeliner. I'm not very good at doing eyeliner, and liquid liner is one that is quite unforgiving. It's one that you kind of build up your skills and get to use that way, and I just don't really like the look of my eyes when I have liquid liner on, so I have finally decided to say goodbye to this product. I've had lots of use out of it. I've made really good progress with it, even though it feels like there are still loads left. I've tried. It's no longer a product that I enjoy using. Next product I used 28 times. It's my Kiko brow pencil. I have probably got another 2 months of this left. It takes me quite a while to get through an eyebrow pencil, and although there's not much of it left, I do still think that this is longer than a month. So I'm going to say 2, it might stretch into 3 months. And yeah, I used it 28 times, so I used it a lot of times. It's a good colour for me, but I find that this and a clear brow gel is just too much for my brows. I think I would rather have like a tinted brow gel. And also what's annoying with this as well is that I'll sharpen it. I'll put the lid on, I won't even like push the lid, and yet I find the end of the pencil gets blunt from being I suppose, pushed up against the lid even though I don't push it on. So that's really annoying. That's another packaging flaw with one of my project pan items. But nice enough product, does a pretty good job, but again it's just not my preference. But I've only got a couple of months left of this product and then I will be done with it. Next item is my Vive Lip Dew in the shade Pesca. It's the one I've got on today, but I do have a lipstick on over the top. I don't have much of this left at all. I will very soon, within the next week I think, start to scrape the sides of this, and then I will take the stopper out of it. So I think it will take longer than a month to pan. I think 2 months max. A very easy product to pan though. Lip glosses are a product you can just keep reapplying throughout the day. They don't have particularly long staying power, and also I can wear them on makeup days and non-makeup days, so it's just a really quick and easy product to pan. So don't think it will be an empty by the next month, but the month after I would expect to see this as an empty. And then the last 2 products are the 2 products that are going to come out of my project pan. So first up is my MAC Sweet Cinnamon Red lipstick. This is a dark orange based warm red. Lovely, lovely lipstick. I have enjoyed wearing that one and Estee Lauder Persuasive, my all-time favourite red. Love this. It's slightly brighter than MAC Sweet Cinnamon. I've really enjoyed wearing them with the Vive Lip Dew because I get a bit of colour, because the Vive Lip Dew doesn't give much colour to my lips. So I get a bit of colour from the red, but not a big bold whack of pigment, so it feels a lot more wearable. And I have really enjoyed wearing both of them, but I think I just want to switch it up a little bit, because I either go for the Lip Dew on its own or I pair it with one of the reds, and I just want to try some other lip colours at the moment. MAC I wore 9 times, Estee Lauder 5 times. There's no difference on my piece of paper where I mark them, so I haven't updated it because it would basically just be the same. But I feel like I have used them more than the piece of paper with no progress shows that I have. So yeah, really enjoyed wearing both of these, but I would just like to try something different for the moment. And those are the updates. So that was a whistle-stop tour of the progress of my project pan items. So like I said at the beginning, I'm now down to 14 items in my project pan. And looking at the list, I don't think I'm gonna have any empties by the next update. I think it will be the update after that where I should hopefully have 3. I think it will be the Vive Lip Dew, the Kiko Brow Pencil, and the Urban Decay Naked Heat Matte Ivory shade, which I think is Chaser. So there should be 3 empties in the November, oh that's scary, in the November update. But for the next one, I don't think there will be. But making steady progress, and if my numbers are anything like this month's, I'll be very happy. So hope you found that interesting. If you yourself are doing a project pan, please let me know how your progress is going in the comments down below. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon for my pan in every eyeshadow palette update. Bye guys.